Hello there, everybody. You are welcome to this amazing time that we are having here. It's good to have everybody here already. If you are here already, can you go ahead in the chat box, whether you're following in from LinkedIn, from the different Facebook pages, go ahead in the chat box and comment the city where you're joining us from and your country where you are joining us from. You're welcome to this amazing program. Trust me, you are about to learn things that will literally shift your family as a whole. Trust me, right? Because family is important. Somebody said family is the nucleus of the society. And if you get family right, you will get a lot of things right. Now, what about family, kids, and money? Right? So this has a lot to deliver, and you are about to be part of something special today. So it is like, a master class put together and a book launch put together. So whatever you do, ensure that you are part and parcel of what is going to be happening today. You're welcome again. My name is Dr. Joybert, and I'm excited that I will be having this incredible discussion with somebody that many of you already know, and maybe for some people, this will be your first time of encountering or meeting and hearing the wisdom and the insights that this incredible person has for you. So, in a few moments, I will be introducing this amazing guest that I have here today. All right. But before we continue, I want to encourage you, get a pen, get a journal, get a notebook, and if possible, get a cup of coffee, right? Get a cup of juice, and definitely trust me, you will have an incredible time today because you will learn things that will literally shift your entire family, especially when it comes to finances and, of course, building and establishing the right legacy in what you do. So please go ahead, let us know that you're there and you're alive and you're part of us. Please let us know the city and the country where you're jumping in from. And I will give you a shout out. I will give you a presidential shout out. All right. All right. So I have an incredible person that will be part of us. And this person is the brain behind the most incredible book that you can read if you are a mother, if you are a father, especially if you are in North America, especially the United States. However, there are insights that she has to share from this book that I have read a couple of times, that it can affect any family anywhere in the world, right? I know because I'll be asking the questions and I know the book. So I know what the book carries. And the questions I'll be asking this amazing author definitely will release insight from her wealth of wisdom and experience that can impact any family, or any father or any mother. Good to see you, Vera Abanda from Kansas in the United States. All right, people, without much ado, without any delay, let us welcome our incredible guest on the stage. Welcome to Dr. Lilly Binglo, the one and only slaying
Yes,
CPA.
that's a good one.
All right, everybody. This is our guest. For those who are following this live from Dr. Lily's page on Facebook and on LinkedIn, you already know her by now because of the insights that she constantly shares with the community. If you are following this from my page on YouTube on Facebook, this will be your first time of meeting Dr. Lilly. She is an incredible person. You all are welcome to this. Dr. Lilly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I am so excited to be here. It's
Well,
incredible. Such an
uh,
honor. I'm so happy we're doing this too. Yes.
yes. This should be happening at a time like this. All right. Now, you see, I don't want to assume that everybody knows Dr. Lilly the way I do. And
Mhm.
I want to assume that there are strangers, there are people here that are meeting Dr. Lilly for the first time, and somebody says in the chat box, Dr. Lilly for life. Yes, so somebody says Lilly for life. So let me give you a brief synopsis of this incredible lady. But again, please, if you want to understand family, kids, and wealth, then you have to stay till the end and get all the insights and the juice that she has. Now, the question should be for some people, why is Dr. Joybert interviewing or talking to Dr. Lilly? Who is this lady? All right, let me give you some insights. All right. Now, apart from being an incredible person that I know personally, let's talk about her, from industry perspective. Why you have to listen to her. You must listen to her. I'm telling you, right? As a friend said, if you want your destiny to be on the right path, listen to the right people. So
Yes.
this is one of those people that if you want your destiny and that of your family and your kids when it comes to finances, listen to her. So Dr. Lilly is a licensed industry leading CPA. And I'm going to prove to you why she's a leading CPA. Just follow me carefully, right? And she has incredible experience. And one thing that makes her special is that she is in the academia. So, which better person to listen to than somebody who is in the field running a CPA firm and then lecturing accountancy? Guys, I did accounting in high school and university. That thing is not fun,
Mhm.
right? It's not fun. But she
Mhm.
is not on the lecturing accountancy or accounting as a professor with Regent University, but she is a practicing CPA. You see, so you have to listen to her, right? And she's a published author. She's an expert tax strategist for individuals, businesses, nonprofits, churches, and she's the founder of a very, very respected CPA firm. Now, I am not putting the word respected there because it's a good English word. This firm has been ranked number one, certified public accountancy or accounting firm in Chesapeake, Virginia, and of course ranked number one best accounting firm by the three best rated organizations. So she knows what she's talking about. Trust me. All right. And she has been recognized among the top 25 thought leaders in finance by Thinkers 360. I could go on and on and on. But here's the good news. The book we're talking about and the masterclass in one has been rated already number 10 in corporate taxes,
Mhm.
number
Yes.
21 in tax accounting, number 24 in small business taxes on Amazon, right? So we are talking about, if you're a parent, we're talking to you. We're talking to you on hire your kids, save taxes, and build a strong financial legacy for your family. So, guys, that is Lilly we're talking about. And somebody says she is amazing. Thank you, Aneta. And Marina says the ARC NPS is your business surgeon. Oh, that's no better way to put that.
Love
Marina,
it.
we can close this show because of you.
Yes.
All right. So I'll be asking questions to Dr. Lilly. I'm calling it a masterclass questions. And here's a tip, guys. She has no idea what I'm going to ask her.
There's none.
She has no idea what I'm going to ask her. So she's the expert that she says she is, that we have heard. She's going to defend herself today, but trust me, she can talk for hours and hours and hours about this topic because she's good at it. Now, before I get into the nitty gritty of the core thing, here's my first question to you. In your opening letter in that book, or talking about the author's preface,
Yes.
you called the book, or you called the book a blueprint.
Yes.
And you said that if families adopt only one practice from this book, or let me ask it this way: if one family listens to you right now, a family, or it may be a single mom, or a good family listen to you right now, if they adopt only one practice from this book, what is that single most powerful shift you believe they will experience?
Hmm. I love that. I love that. So, hey, everyone. I'll tell you, interestingly, it has nothing to do with numbers. The one thing that I believe that if families adopt, it would shift everything for them is knowing that their kids or the lives their kids will live will be a
Mm,
full and honest reflection of the lives that they lead as individuals.
okay.
Which means if they live a life of integrity, if they show their kids what hard work is, if they show their kids how they can face adversity and still rise, if they show their kids what it's like to have a relationship with God and live a life of purpose, if they can do that, just knowing that how you live your life will be a full replica or fully represented by the lives that your kids live, that alone is enough, because that changes everything. That changes everything. It's not what you tell them. No, it's how you live your life,
Mm,
because that's the most honest picture of who you are, not what you say. Talk is
absolutely.
cheap, talk is easy. But yes, that I would say is the one thing that if families grasp,
Mhm.
implement it, game changer.
Mm, mm. And I think that is more special because it goes in detail to talk about finances, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
somebody said, let's say from the black race perspective, somebody said there's a lot of talk about inherited curses and things like that. Why is
Yes.
nobody talking about generational blessings?
Exactly. Yes.
And I
Yes.
believe that this book is an important tool that can enable the family to transfer the right, wealth perspective from the father, mother to the kids in a way
Absolutely.
that years after when they are gone,
Yes.
there's still that sustainable impact as far
Yes.
as the family is concerned. All
Yes.
right. Now, reading this book, chapter one, you write in chapter one about a few key things, and you write about, you said that hiring your kids is not just about lowering taxes.
Yes.
And you said it is about shaping futures and building
Yes.
legacies. Now, that's very important because
Yes.
any serious parent, if you're a father that your senses are there, right,
Yes.
or a mother your senses are there, you want to shape the right future for
Absolutely.
your son or your daughter. So you said this book, although it talks about how to hire kids and build a legacy and save taxes, but you said in chapter one that it is not just about lowering taxes,
It's
but
beyond.
it is about shaping the futures and building legacies. Now, I want to ask you personally, what was the personal aha moment, that special moment that convinced you that this book you're writing could transform families and not just finances?
Oh, that's good. I love this. I love this. That aha moment, what
Yeah.
you said.
Mhm.
Um, I've, of course, I've been a financial professional for so long, and I have seen a lot of people, first generation business owners, who are learning so much and, wanting to impact their communities, right, while making a living. And one of the things that I realized, and for me personally, was there is something beautiful about having kids understand what value adding is from a young age, not waiting till they're older, right? And so I've worked with so many entrepreneurs, and I always see them when they work hard. One of the main things they want to do is what? Impact their kids. And I
Mhm.
thought about my life, and I thought about the fact that I'm able to be this entrepreneur and gain some level of confidence because I watched my mom Be an entrepreneur. My sister is an incredible entrepreneur. I'm sure you know her, a millionaire. But guess what? She used to go to my mom's shop. And so she was there, saw how my mother ran her business, saw how my mother did her books and all of that. And I was reflecting about that when I wrote the book about my mom. And I said, can you imagine if other parents were in, we're given the knowledge on how to not only bring their kids on board, but
Mm.
show them that when you are able to not just transfer wealth, but transfer these experiences, this knowledge, it will set them up for the future.
Absolutely.
And if you have kids that make you proud, you as a family, you guys have won,
Mm.
right? And so
Yes.
for me, having thought about these things and thinking about the legacy I also want to pass on to my daughter, I
Mhm.
realized, oh, there are so many others that are like me. There are so
Mhm.
many others that are building businesses. They may not have had the blueprint or the foundation or the
Yeah.
exposure that I had. And mine was even very minute, right? But they can shape the future for their kids. They can
Absolutely.
change the narrative. And one
Mhm.
of the best ways is to involve those kids in the business,
Mhm.
involve them in understanding what it's like to have conversations with people, how to
Mhm.
add value, how to manage temperaments, and things like that. And thankfully, we're in an economy that also promotes this idea by giving you a tax break. A tax
Mhm.
break now that helps your business save even more money, and you
Mhm.
can reinvest that money and build first not just the business acumen for your kids, but help
Yeah.
them to set up
Absolutely.
financially for the
Mhm.
rest of their lives. So yeah, so these were those moments that were like, oh wait, that's what we could do. For those of us that are new into this, it shouldn't end with us. Being
Mhm.
an entrepreneur should not end with you if you have kids. You
Mhm.
can also bring them on board. You can set them up for success. And
Yeah.
it starts with having a blueprint, like hiring your kids, saving taxes, and building a legacy.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is so relevant. You said some things that I did my MBA thesis on family-owned businesses in Africa,
Mhm.
and research says that more than 80% of those businesses don't transfer to their kids,
Yes.
right? Because as simple as when the mother or father dies, the son or daughter does not know the supplier that
Yes.
the mother used to buy from. As there's no relationship that exists.
None.
So being able to have a tool like hiring your kids and
Yes.
saving taxes and building a legacy
Yes.
enables every family to be able to start transferring, that
Yes.
generation. And you see, it's, as you said, it's not just about the money. It's about the ideas, the
Yes.
frameworks, the strategies, what works for us and what you can improve
Yes.
for us. So, guys, if you're watching this, if you look on your screen, you will see a code, a QR code that you can scan with your phone and order the book on Amazon. Hire your kids, save taxes, and build a legacy for your family. All
Yes.
right. Or you can just go on Amazon and type Dr. Lilly. You go on under her Amazon account, you'll see
Yes.
all the books that she even has there for you. But this is the hot cake for
Yes.
today. All right. Thank you so much to Stacy Vine says that she's such a powerhouse. Book
Thank you.
Firm. Book Firm says great woman of our time. Leonard says, I think that's a nickname that only the two of you know.
Good.
Yes. And then, of course, Anita is confirming that kids
Thank
are
you.
watching our every movement.
Yes.
And good to see you, Dr. Epetin Diver. And she says she's watching live and direct. All right. Please order the book. You can order 2 copies, 3 copies, give it as a gift to
Yes.
somebody. Trust me, somebody needs that. You can save somebody's family with that gift
Yes.
in
Yes.
the United States of
Yes.
America. All right. My next question to you, it comes from chapter 2. Guys, I cannot, even chapter 1, if I want to ask, when I was reading it, I could ask 10 questions and I will not be right. So I will get one question from each chapter as we proceed. Now,
Yes.
chapter 2, um, I summarized chapter 2 under a simple phrase where you're trying to talk about why it makes sense to hire your kids.
Yes.
And you raise a strong argument that, you know, children can be both an allowance in quote and an asset, right? Because if you're underspending on your kids buying dresses and toys in accounting, that is, that's expenses, right?
Yes.
But you
Yes.
said that there's this beauty where kids can be both an allowance and an asset. So, how do you explain this idea to parents who feel uneasy about mixing business with family life?
Oh, that is so good. That is so, oh, I love that one. I love that one. So, um, first of all, I want to give every parent grace to understand that incorporating business with family is not easy,
Mm,
because your kids they want to play, they want to be
exactly.
on technology, they want to have fun, and making that decision to bring them on board is not easy. But I can tell you, every child you have has been given a gift. They all have gifts, everyone. And if you're able to fine tune those gifts and find ways to help them bring those skill sets into your business while developing themselves, they can become an incredible asset to your business, your family, and to themselves, right? And where I see parents always have a hard time is, when I tell my kid to do this, it's really hard for us, or, they don't just want to do it. They get tired, they get angry, and of course, they have all these other things to distract them. But I want you as a parent to always think about the big picture, okay? There is nothing good that happens from a place of comfort. None at all. If you're a business owner, you know it takes effort, it takes hard work. You have to do the hard work, even when nobody's watching. Same thing, if you have to bring your kids into your business, it's going to be stuff that they don't like. Yes, they're going to be pissed at you. But one of the ways you can do is show them that, okay, you know what, you can actually earn some money while you're learning this skill set. You're contributing to this. And when you work with mommy and daddy, we make more money. We can take more vacations, right? And once you do those kind of things, it starts to make it easy for them to get excited about it. And plus, for you who is struggling to incorporate business and family, one of the things I want you to think about is also boundaries. Because sometimes, I have to confess this. The first time I brought my daughter into business, I did not understand that. And so for me, every time she was doing anything, I'm like, do you understand the implication of what you're doing? Right? And at some point, I kind of forgot that no, she's a kid. She's a child. You cannot overwhelm her every day talking about business. You can, secure a couple of hours where you focus on business related stuff, and then you make it fun. By you doing that, you're helping them really develop these skill sets, helping them add value to your business. And now when they see that they can actually get paid, they get really excited, right? So now instead of them getting their little $5 allowance, now they know they could actually work and earn $10 instead of just getting $5. Guess what? They will be excited to do it. But make sure so that the work that you're giving them is age appropriate. You're trying to develop them. You're building them to become these incredible value adding adults, but it goes step by step. You cannot give meat to a 2 month old baby, right? So you have to go step by step. So it makes it become a really beautiful process for you to incorporate business and your family. And in everything you do as a family, you can always have a teachable moment. Always. When you go on vacation and something happens with a customer service, use that to teach them. Those are all ways that you're incorporating business with family time without it even feeling like a burden. And then the older they get, you let them understand their consequences. Okay. You have to do what you say you're supposed to do because there are consequences. You're either going to lose money, you're going to lose relationships, you're going to lose your business. But now they understand because they are older. So you see how your kids can be an incredible asset to your business, but you have to find a way to not let it, start to drain family time because you're still a parent. And at the end of the day, if your kids don't even want to be involved in your business, it's okay. You're just called to love them. This is for the kids that you successfully can bring on, because it's important that I say this. So, because when people come to me and we talk about these strategies, they start to impose it on their kids, forgetting that these are little people with individualities, and you have to respect that as well. Create the interest, show them how it could be beneficial to them. But if they have other interests and they don't want to come to your business, that's okay. Let them develop those skill sets and find opportunities for them to go and explore and grow in, because it doesn't only have to end with start and end with your business. I hope that helped.
Definitely, definitely, that was so good. Now, there is a hot question that two people have asked already in the chat box asking. Vera Abanda asks, what is the age to start? Anita
Oh,
is asking, is there an age limit to hire them? Now, let me say this. She will just say the minimum age limit, but when you get the book, the beauty is that you have access to a resource that will show you the age limit, recommended jobs to give your kids. Like Dr. Lilly has just showed all of this for you just to swallow, right? Copy and paste. Just copy and paste what you find there. So you see the various age groups, recommended jobs and job description and all of that, what they can do. And of course, that can help any parent. You can look at, okay, my son, my daughter is this age group. This is what they can do in a business. And you can use those as blueprint to now see, okay, if he or she can do this, maybe they can also do this based on what I see here.
Yes.
So to answer the question, what is the age limit to
I
hire?
love that. I love that. Okay, so interestingly, there is no age limit, but it has to be reasonable. Okay. Now, as far as the starting age, but for you to get the full benefit of this strategy, your kid should be less than 18 years of age.
Okay.
Now, if they're under 21, up to 21, they still get some tax breaks, but the full advantage of it happens when they're under 18. Now, a lot of people are always asking, from when should you? Realistically, for the average business, 6 or 7 can actually do some work. Okay. Now, but there are certain businesses, like I've seen people who sell kids clothing. If your kids can model for your website, so you can take pictures with them wearing your clothing, you see right there, there's no age limit, right? So your 1-year-old, if we can go to your website and actually see your 1-year-old modeling your clothes, guess what? We're able to hire them, right? And pay them. So the trick is just making sure that whatever you're getting them to do, it makes sense. Don't come and hire your 3-year-old and tell me your 3-year-old was reviewing your tax records, right? Or that your 3-year-old was entering data. Of course, it makes it doesn't make sense, right? And Uncle Sam is gonna come for you. So for the most part, from the age of 5, 6, and 7, you can really get them involved, right? Up to the age of 18. Now, Doc, I don't know if I can go ahead and just add these points, but there are a couple of things we must keep in mind, okay? First thing is you have to make sure that they are doing the work. Don't just put them on there because this strategy is good. The second thing is you want to make sure that you're paying them a fair amount. Okay. For example, if I was going to hire someone to shred paper in my office and I'll pay them $15 an hour, there's no reason I'll hire my kid and pay her $25 an hour. You're trying to play the books, right?
Exactly.
So you have to make sure whatever you're paying them is reasonable. And then you also want to make sure you're documenting what it is, the work they're doing, the hours they're working, and how you're paying them. Because if Uncle Sam ever came, after you for this, then you're going to be in trouble if you don't have this documentation. So keep in mind, whatever work they're doing, let it be age appropriate. Okay. And the best ages for this tax strategy is when they're under 18. Now, can you hire your kids past 18? Of course, they just might not be able to get the benefits of being hired as your kids. And one last thing, you cannot pay them over the standard deduction. Okay. Everyone who files taxes in the US, your standard deduction is what the government thinks, will give you as a tax break. For 2025 is 15,750. So long as you don't pay them over 15,750, then you get the full benefit of the strategy. The kids don't have to report any income. You don't have to file any paperwork, for having paid them. They don't pay any income tax. You don't pay payroll tax. But this also depends on how your business is set up. I think I'm going too fast, Doc. So let me stop and let you continue. I'm giving it bit by bit. See how I get excited.
That was a lot already. That's why you have to get the books, guy. You just have to get the books because there is a lot. It's again, like the book says in the first few pages, it's a blueprint for a lot that you can literally redesign, your family. And, as she said, one of the most beautiful things you can give your kids is bringing them into that atmosphere where they can build character, learn things that even when you are not there, you can always consistently, trust that, hey, with what I gave him or her, she can stand the test of time anywhere she goes or he goes. All right. So scan the QR code on your screen or go on Amazon and search for Hire Your Kids, Save Taxes, and Build a Legacy. That's the only book with that title. All right. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So next question. You did mention about Uncle Sam, IRS, right? Now, there are some people that when they hear IRS and guidelines, either they are scared or they are intimidated, right? So IRS guidelines can sound very intimidating to
Yes.
people who don't have proper information
Yes.
about what they do and
Yes.
what they are doing as a people.
Yes.
So, in practical terms, what and that's, you find that in chapter 3, and you find what she will say in detail in chapter 3 of the book, right? But in practical terms, that, like a brief synopsis, what are the biggest compliance mistakes that parents make as a CPA? You have seen this over and over. So what are those, biggest compliance mistakes that you have noticed that parents who want to hire their kids and get them to build a legacy together and save taxes? What are mistakes that they make, and what few tips, foundational tips, can you share that can help parents to avoid landing, on the IRS on the IRS radar, and getting in trouble?
Oh, I love this. I love this. So, and we see it all the time, right?
Mhm.
The first thing is that parents listen to too much TikTok advice and they don't go to understand the full picture. All right. So someone gives the advice and you hear a 2 seconds video, hire your kids,
Exactly.
get a tax deduction for this amount, and that's
Mm,
it. Okay. So that lack of the full information is where the problem starts. And
mhm.
that's why grabbing a book like this would really help you. So when parents implement this strategy without understanding the full picture of it, that's where trouble comes from. So the first thing, right, that I've noticed with a lot of parents is they don't even have a well written out job description for their kids. You need to have that, because if Uncle Sam comes to you, the IRS comes to you, and you just say, "Oh, my kid helps with the business," what does that mean? What are they actually doing? How are we able to assess that they did the work for you saying that you paid them $14,000? Because that's a lot of money, right? So a lot of parents I see is that they don't have clearly defined roles and job description for their kids. So if you're listening to this, and in the book we've provided a template to give you some guidance, whenever you choose that you want to bring your kids on board, make sure you're clear about what you want them to do. So that way, if they were even asked about what they do for the business, they can say it proudly. I help my mom's business by creating content for her social media and I post it on her social media page, right? They have clarity on what they are doing. So that's the first. And then the next thing that I see parents struggle with is when it comes to applying strategies like these, keep in mind, dog, how your business is set up is very crucial. So somebody comes online and tells you you can hire your kids and you can get a tax write-off. The thing is, the person did not explain to you that if you if you are in a partnership, for example, where you're in a partnership with a non-related party, so someone who is not your spouse, you cannot actually hire your kids in that partnership and pay them and get away with it, right? You have to issue them a W-2. So sometimes the problem too with people taking advice from different sources without understanding the big picture is they apply it to the wrong business strategy. And by doing that, they also get in trouble. Okay, so in that kind of situation, if you grab this book or set up time, talk with me. Let's look at how your business is set up so that you put in the right strategy in place so that you can be compliant with the IRS. Because now, if you're saying that you're paying your child, you're not documenting it, but you're in a partnership with a non-related party, or your business is set up as an S corp, for example, which all of this is in detail in the book, then you could get in trouble. You need to be either a single member LLC or a sole proprietor filing on a Schedule C and claiming your child in order to be able to pay them, not issue them a W-2 and and get the tax deduction. Okay. Another thing that I have seen that are red flags that parents should watch out for is paying their kids money that does not make sense. I talked about it earlier. You
Yeah.
cannot pay your child $50 an hour for shredding paper. Come on. I mean, it makes no sense. I get the idea of, people wanting to make the most of the deduction, but don't get too aggressive that you start to do the wrong thing. Okay.
Exactly.
It's okay. Let your kids grow. If you started with your 5-year-old and you can show that every week they've spent 5 hours, doing whichever work, you get them involved in your business in one way or another. If they're
Mhm.
organizing, like my daughter, when I started with her, she used to put the souvenirs we give to clients in the boxes, right?
Mhm.
She put
Mhm.
them and they're ready for us to use. Now, she doesn't have to do that 20 hours a week. No, she's only doing
Mhm.
a couple of hours. Now I can get her involved in a lot more things. So just be realistic with what you're paying your kids. Don't go and say you paid your 5 year old or your 7 year old $15,000. How can you prove that? It has to make sense, okay?
Mhm.
And sometimes people think, oh, giving them $20 a week is nothing. $80 a month. Think about it. For 12 months, if you're even putting that in a retirement account for them, it will grow. So don't get too aggressive where
Mhm.
you end up having to lie about how
Yes,
much
sir.
you pay them where you cannot justify it,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And then the last one for me, Doc, I think it's it's where this one is a big one. I think the last one for me is where parents get too comfortable playing the books that they don't also understand that they're passing that to their kids. That attitude,
Mm,
honesty of always wanting to play with Uncle Sam. In my
exactly.
opinion, that we're always hungry for tax refunds, but I have seen that once you start to do these things about and lying to your kids, and something happens, someone asks your kids and they have no idea, you've sown a seed in their minds, and for me, this is beyond Uncle Sam, right? I just want to get parents to learn how to do it right, show your kids how to do it right from the get-go. This
Yeah.
is past red flag. This is you showing your kids that I can do things incorrectly or the wrong way and get away with it just because
Mhm.
I'm trying to get a tax break. So, in
Mm.
my opinion, please do it right. Teach them how to document things, how to do it right. So, if Uncle Sam ever came to you, not only do you have the documents so you can have peace of mind, but you've also shown your kids that this is how we operate. This is how we build businesses by doing
Mm.
things right, doing things correctly with integrity and honesty. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. That was so detailed. Guys, I told you guys that this will be a master class, right? It's not just a book launch, but this is a whole master class. And this shows you what you will find in the book in detail.
Yes.
So the book is literally a blueprint that you will sit with your kids and go through it, and you'll see a lot of things that if you apply them, you will experience a lot of impact in what you're building.
Yes.
And Dr. Lilly is so generous that she provides free 15-minute tax consultations
Yes.
to
Yes.
people. So if you're watching this and you perceive or you think that maybe you have a good number of kids, you run a business or a nonprofit, I don't know, and you want to hear some expert advice on what to do, what not to do in detail, depending on what you're already doing, please, you can scan that QR code on your screen, or you can just simply DM Dr. Lilly on any social media platform, and you will get the link to also book a one-on-one session with
Yes.
her. Now,
Yes.
you already went ahead to my next question a bit, talking about structure, because
Yes.
that was supposed to be my next question to you. So I'm going to skip part of the question and ask another part because I wanted to find out, because in the book, you did in detail show how the choice between a sole proprietorship, an LSC, a corporation, partnership affects, the benefit of hiring kids.
Yes.
So I'm going to skip out of that question and focusing on what if there is a parent listening to this right now, and that business owner is kind of feeling overwhelmed or wondering what is the best and simplest starting point to choose the right business structure. What would you tell
No, I
that
love that.
parent?
I love that. I love that. So, and I'm assuming that you're talking about someone who wants to start a business.
Yeah.
They want to learn this and they want to incorporate it. Okay.
Mm.
So it's important that I clarify that, guys, when we talk about business strategies, not every strategy is meant for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's always important to have someone look at your full picture. Okay. And what do I mean by that? For someone who is starting out, a parent, and you have kids, let's say you have kids who are like 2, 3, 4, and they're going to be growing older. Starting out, if you're still testing your idea, especially if you're not sure how far you're going to go, you can always start out as a sole proprietor. Because when someone has young kids, it's a lot to run a business. You can always test out your ideas. When you test it out and you realize this is something I want to do long term, the next thing I want you to do is register yourself as an LLC. If you're a single member LLC, and an LLC stands for Limited Liability Company, and what the LLC comes with really is protection. Because when you start a business as a sole proprietor, even though you're testing your ideas, there's really no protection here in case something went wrong. But it's good for someone who just wants to test an idea, right? Maybe someone came and told you you should do products for people that are graduating out of college, for example. Now you're not sure if that's a business you want to do for long term. You could always start out as a sole proprietor. But as you realize that you want to grow this and take it across the nation, you want to go ahead and register your LLC. Now, if you stay as a single member LLC, which means you don't have a partner, it's just you, when it comes now to taking advantage of this strategy, you're in good hands because your income and your expenses will generally be reported on what we call a Schedule C. A Schedule C is filed with your personal taxes. And because you're already claiming your kids on your personal taxes, that's why you're able to pay your kids and you don't have to issue them any documentation and they don't have to file taxes if the amount you pay them is less than the standard deduction. Okay. Now, there's someone who might be starting a business like a professional. Maybe you're a medical doctor. You're starting a profession where you're going to be making a lot of money off the bed. As great as this strategy might be for you, maybe electing as yourself as an S corp so you can put yourself on salary might be a better option for you. Okay. And that's why I said not all strategies might work for everybody. So, like I said, if you're a mom who is testing an idea, your path might be start as a sole proprietor, set up an LLC. If you're a medical doctor, for example, you're going to be working under you're starting your own practice. We know it's going to be really high revenues coming in. Then I will advise we go ahead, we set up your LLC and get you to become an S corporation because you will need to put yourself on a salary and be paid a reasonable amount that your business can write off. Okay. Now, hiring your kids, even if you have 2 or 3 kids, it might not give you as much a tax break as becoming an S corp. And what does it even mean to be an S corp? An S corp just means you're telling the IRS to treat you and your business as separate from each other. Remember when I talked about the sole proprietor and the single member LLC, I said you file your business income and expenses on a Schedule C with your personal taxes. But when you say I want to be treated as an S corp, you're telling the IRS I don't want my business and my personal taxes to be combined. I want to separate my business from my personal taxes. Okay. That way, my business, even though I own it, I can still hire myself as an employee of my business. In that sense, now your business will be paying you as an employee, being able to write off that deduction of paying you, and you don't have to, and you get to save on self-employment taxes. That's a long lecture for another day. In terms of applying now this strategy, because I already said this strategy, when your business becomes separate from you, you don't have that connection that you had with your kids of being able to write them off because you're not your business is separate from you as the individual. So if you paid your kids, now you have to give them a W-2 because they are separate from you, right? I mean, they're separate. You and your business are separate from each other. But there's a backdoor method for this, and the backdoor method is something we call a family management company. In that family management company, you can still set it up as a sole proprietorship, but then now your children work under your family management company, and then you invoice your S corp. Because remember that your S corp now is a different entity from you in the eyes of the IRS. So
Wow.
because it's a separate entity, you invoice that entity, it will
Mhm.
pay you for the work that your kids have done. You will still get the same break now on your personal taxes for hiring
Mhm.
your kids, but now the S corp doesn't have to issue your kids a W-2 or
Mhm.
1099 or anything like that. Okay. So I know we might have to go over this maybe in
Yeah.
detail tomorrow, but this land lays the foundation of someone who is starting out. It's so important to talk to a professional like myself, so that
Exactly.
way we get clarity on what kind of business you're setting up, what the
Mhm.
long-term goals are, so that we put you in the right business structure so you can
Definitely.
maximize, or not just this strategy but many other tax strategies that are available for you.
Definitely. Definitely. For some people who are wondering, like that sounds like finding X and finding Y.
I know,
if,
but
if,
you're
if
overwhelmed
that sounds
sometimes.
like you, please calm down and you can start with getting a free 15 minutes sit down
Yes,
one-on-one because
please.
sometimes your situation can require a customized counsel and
Yes, yes,
advice that will bless you. Funny
Yes.
enough, it feels as if we started just 10 minutes ago, but it's
Yes.
almost 15 minutes gone into the discussion, and
Yes.
we'll be rounding up like in 15 minutes or so.
Yes.
And this has been incredible. Now, if you're watching this and you have a question you want to drop in the chat box, please, in the comment section, please do that on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Please drop that. I will see it here and happily Dr. Lilly will give you pro answers to those questions. If not, feel free to jump on a 15-minute free call so you
Yes.
guys can talk about that. All right,
Yes.
now there's a question from Stacy. She says, "What if my kid is disabled or a kid with special needs?"
Oh, that's a good one. Wow, that's a really, really good one.
Yeah.
So, Stacy, let's get some things clear, right? Because kids being disabled or as special needs does not mean they cannot work. So our first thing is this child able to do some work? Okay. If your kid is able to do work, of course you can hire them in your business. You know,
Mm,
I know a lot of special needs kids that are one of the smartest human beings I have ever met, right? They might be on the spectrum, but they operate on a whole different level of intelligence in certain spaces. So if you can leverage
mm,
that in your business, absolutely. Okay. Now, this strategy is not a strategy for you to give away free money to your child or your baby if they cannot do the
mm,
work. That applies across whether your child is
yeah.
special needs or not. So, what we're assessing here is, can this child be of value to your business? If this child can be of value to your business, then why don't we make it, something structured, formalize
Mm,
it, hire them, pay them a fair share so we can get a reasonable amount so we can get the tax write-off, be able to invest the money for them to build a legacy for their lives. So it
absolutely.
doesn't matter if your child is special needs or disabled, so long as they can work in your business, they can add value. Please, by all means, they should be hired in that business so they can earn some money and be able to have that invested for them for their
Mhm.
future. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. OJ Miller says, great information.
Hey,
Zoe
OJ.
Bruno, Zoe Bruno from Washington, I think, says, gathering sense. That's my crazy brother there. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. Yes.
Anita says, great information. And okay, um, D. Kelly says, I'm a small startup literally operating from home based in Cameroon. Is it wise to register immediately at a sole proprietor? All right, that is kind of my tough. So if here's what I wish common people to do. If you're thinking big in Cameroon, you should register as a sole proprietor, even though you're from home. Why? Because you will get some deals that if you don't have a business license or register, they will not give you the deal, right? And if you're thinking big, I always advise people go formal when you start, okay?
Yes.
And when you start seeing some income, it's very good that you should go formal because if you want to serve corporate, whether small or large corporate, non-profits, churches, many of them, because of Cameroon tax situation, they will need to ensure that you issue an invoice from a registered business with a license, with a business license, okay?
Mm.
So I would recommend you to do that. All right. Somebody says, I think the same person. I experienced a situation with my former employee who got involved, his children in the business, but they kept on complaining bitterly about exploitation. Interesting. Since they
Mm.
felt they worked more than they were being paid. Please,
Yes.
what advice do you have for parents so there could be a balance?
Oh, I
Interesting.
love that. I love that.
That's a
Oh,
very good question.
that's a good. Thank you for asking that because I have
Yeah.
seen it.
Hmm.
I've actually seen parents, especially those of us who are, from the motherland, as they say.
Exactly.
We almost have this expectation that our kids have to work in our businesses, right?
Hmm.
So it's almost like, wait, if you don't work, how we eat, right? How we pay your fees?
Exactly.
So that's really where sometimes you see a lot of this exploitation coming in. And unfortunately, most of these parents are like, yes, if they don't work, what do you want me to do? You want me to hire someone and give them? You can't fault them, but we can educate them. Okay, we can educate them to show them that if they were to structure this the right way, if they were to create a contract between them and their kids that shows what the expectations are that they have for the kids and what the kids should also expect from them. Right now, not only are they engaging their kids in their business and teaching them business acumen, but they're showing the kids that, in every relationship, there's a give and take. Right? If you do your part, this is what I promise to give you. Okay. So you should expect this from me. And it makes the kids to show up better, to show up even more excited, and they tend to learn a lot more than kids that show up disgruntled because they feel like they're being forced to do this. Okay. So encourage any parent that feels like their kids must work in their business to take a different approach. Don't just see this as, okay, I'm getting free labor. No, look at it like I want to build legacy. And if you have not created a system where you show the kids that there is, when people work hard, there's also reward for their work, there's reward for adding value, you're ruining them. You're really, really ruining them because they're going to have a very messed up system on what that give and take should be. Okay. So if you want to teach them, if you want to build this legacy and also show them how to invest in the future, I would say create a nice contract between you guys. Show them that, okay, this is what you expect from them, this is what you're going to compare. Even if you don't want to give them the money, you can even invest the money on their behalf, give them a little bit, but let them find joy in doing it. Because there's no way you yourself, down the road, and let me tell you, if you notice, most of the kids that when they get to a certain age, they escape the house, is because they always felt like they were exploited. So just, help educate the parents, show them this video, that they have an opportunity here to inspire their next generation. And feeling like because they're their kids, they are bound to do that. No, it's not fair. It's not fair to the kids. And you as a parent, and I'm just going to add this from an accounting standpoint. I've seen a lot of people get to the point they want to sell their business. And the problem with the valuation of that is that you never accurately accounted for your expenses, like paying your kids. Your kids were providing labor. So if someone came now to buy your business, you have misrepresented, because it looks like your business is a profitable business. It's not. It's because you are having free labor. So right then already, you have some basics that have been poorly recorded, right? And that can pose a lot of questions for a potential buyer. So there are so many things here that I would encourage a parent like that to consider, beyond just wanting to teach you, take advantage of your kids. Show them that, they matter. Show them that the work they do really matters. When they add value, it makes a difference, and they should be compensated for it, to motivate them to want to learn, to want to develop themselves, and to even bring back more value to your business. That was a good one. Thank you.
That that was such a good one. That was such a good one. All right, people. Now we will be running up very soon, and I want to give you a synopsis about tomorrow. I will ask questions tomorrow that will cover things like payroll and documentation,
Yes.
financial literacy, and very important question on how parents can use their earnings to build a legacy. Like if
Yes.
you're paying the kids a salary now, how can you use what you're paying them to build a legacy? You need
Yes.
that question. There'll be a question on kids over 18. Okay, what should I do with them now that they're
Yes.
over 18?
Yeah. Oh,
Now
oh,
you run
yes.
a business. All right.
Yeah.
So you cannot afford to miss tomorrow, because I will go in detail some things that you desire to actually know.
Yes.
Somebody says, Mojoko says, you're right. I testify of that strategy between I and my mom. Awesome.
That's
Beautiful.
good. Hey,
Right.
Hannah.
One last question on a lighter note as we round up this day one and continue day two tomorrow. From your experience of working with families and people that have hired their kids, and because in chapter 5, when I was reading the book on defining the roles, you emphasize there were some two keywords, very important words. You spoke of meaningful roles, not just scatter roles, I would say in
Yes.
Cameroon, right?
Yes.
Not
Yes.
just giving roles to
Yes.
for giving sake, but you use these two words, meaningful roles,
Yes.
for kids, not just busy work, not just
Yes.
for the sake of taxation, right?
Yes.
Now, could you share from your experience maybe a real example where a child's role went beyond just chores and truly added value to your business? Do you have an
Yes.
example like that?
Yes, yes. And I can't call clients' names because I'm a
Yes,
CPA,
absolutely.
so I
Mm.
wouldn't do that. But let me give an example of one of our own clients that owns a home health care. Okay,
Awesome.
when they started their business, bringing their daughter on board, they
Mm.
never even thought this was a strategy or available, right? So when we started talking about strategies, and I mentioned to them like, look, you could actually, give your daughter a role, structure it,
Mhm.
and be able to get the tax write off. Back then, I think it was they could write off up to $12,000, right? And they went back. They did the assignment, they did the homework. And when we talk about meaningful, I want to come to that. And one of the things I was emphasizing to them is don't just focus on the tax strategy itself. Really
Exactly.
find a way to show your kids how beautiful entrepreneurship is. Right.
Mm.
I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship. Now, do I think everybody needs to be an entrepreneur? No. I think the goal is for people to have a good idea of who they are and how they can add value, irrespective of where they find themselves. But for a lot of us, entrepreneurship was not exposed to us from a young age. We never saw someone in it. So we grew up knowing you only have to get a job. So, first thing is you want to have your kids get exposed to this world of entrepreneurship, getting to understand that I just don't have to get paid for showing up. I can get paid for work that is valuable, work that is meaningful, that is making a difference. And that meaningful part comes from showing them the difference that their work makes, right? And so for in that case, they had her doing filing. And one of the things they explained to her was, when you do these filings for the company, you help us to make sure that our patients have their information in an organized manner. So if someone came to us and there was an emergency, we don't have to struggle to find their information because they might be having a life and death situation. Okay. You see how simple that was presented? And the daughter embraced this, took it so seriously. I mean, if you go there and you see how she organizes stuff on Saturday, and when they started, then she was doing the physical ones. Now she works creating, even the electronic folders, right? But with that knowing of, if there's an emergency and we needed to pull this person's records to give it to the hospital and we can't find it, they could die. They could be administered a medication that they shouldn't get, and that could cost them their lives, right? So now, with that in mind, the little girl could see the difference that her work makes. And that made her show up different. Yeah, she was excited to get paid, even though they gave her some of the money and invested the other amount. But that made her show up so differently. Okay. Now she is 17 and she is working on her own business. The things that she learned, and she's trying to get properties. She's actually trying, you will be surprised. This little girl is trying to get properties. She wants to buy land to have horses on them. She said there are people that need therapy, and one of the therapies that helps them is being able to play with horses. You see how, with her being able to do work that was meaningful, now she thinks business from that perspective of how I can add meaning. Okay, she's only 17. I mean, she still needs to raise all of that money, but I was so impressed just having a conversation with her. She doesn't want to go into home health care, but she learned to do work that was meaningful. She understood the difference of her showing up,
That's
where
so
now
good.
it's transitioned to whatever she's doing. She's thinking about that. How is it
Mm.
going to make a difference in the lives of people? How am I adding value? Okay. So, she's still working for the parents' business. She's doing even way more now. She's actually being able to do customer service for the patients. But just starting from that age has built an interest, has built an incredible young lady who knows that me showing up really matters. That's where that meaningful idea comes from. So if you, the
Exactly.
parent, you don't make them understand how meaningful their work is, they may never
Mm.
know. So it's
My
us, it's
goodness.
on us to show them that we're making a difference in the little that we're doing to contribute to
Yeah.
the success of the organization. Yes.
That that is such an incredible example. And I'm
Yes.
sure that any parent watching this, you definitely, get that example on how you can assign a meaningful role
Yes.
to your son or daughter to get them involved in business. And there is a very important and amazing comment from LinkedIn from Dr. Davin, and he says, taught my daughter QuickBooks to input payments and pay bills from my
Mhm.
landscaping business,
Yes.
and my son worked in the field with me. That
Wow.
is so
It's
powerful.
incredible. It's
That
incredible.
is one of the best examples
Yes.
that also demonstrate a
Yes.
meaningful
Thank you for sharing.
role. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Just being hands on
Yes.
in the business, that is so good. Again, people, you see, I told you guys that this will be 1 hour master class on hiring your kids, saving taxes, and building a legacy. So you have to get the book on Amazon. So you can search the book or you scan the code on your screen and
Yes.
order the book. Please leave good reviews when
Yes.
you order the book. All right. Leave good reviews. All right. So this is supposed to be a 1 hour exact discussion, and we have handled incredible things so far. So tomorrow, be here same time,
Yes.
2:30 Central Time. That's 3:30 Eastern Time. And for those from Cameroon, I think it's 8:30 your time.
Yes.
The GMT plus one. Please be there because tomorrow we will be picking Dr. Lily's brains on some more, let me call it, day one, I designed it for this is soft skills. Day
Yes.
two, hard skills, right? So tomorrow we
Yes.
look at payroll and documentation, what
Yes.
that means for you, financial literacy. That's chapter 7. Chapter 8 of the book, we'll talk about using earnings to build a legacy and all of that. Then chapter 9, for those of you that have kids over 18 years old, what does that mean for you and the business? And then chapter 10 talks about how to get your kids involved in business decision making. That's very important also. And then I have a special secret question for Dr. Lilly to round up the whole session, and we are done. All right. The people that stayed from the start to the end, we want to thank you so,
Thank
so
you.
much. All right. Thank you all so much on that. So please put the book title on this live. Yes, it's there. You can see on your screen, or check the description of this video on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. You will see in the description, you see the book title and the link. Just click it, will take you to Amazon and you can just buy. All right. Awesome. So, any last words from you, Dr. Lilly?
Yes, please. Thanks to everyone who came on board. Really appreciate it. I strongly believe that we owe it to the next generation. We owe it to the next generation to lay a good foundation for them.
Mm,
It's not enough that we've learned. It's not enough that we've recognized the errors that our parents made and we're trying to fix those. We have the responsibility to pass this on to all the people that are to come behind us. And
mm,
even if you're not able to start a business, maybe you're not a business owner, right? But you have other people that could benefit from this. Pass this information on to them. You know,
absolutely.
you owe it. You owe it first to you, your family, but to
Mm,
your kids to show them that anything that they want to accomplish, anything they aspire to accomplish, they can. It can start from outside. It doesn't start at school. It starts right at home. Okay.
mhm,
So even
mhm.
if you're not a business owner, this is still, this is an incredible tool to still learn and understand, because down the road, if business kind of gets into your mind, you're like, I want to give this a try, at least you have this information ready. If you
Absolutely.
know people that could benefit, please share with them. But I'm just, encouraging every parent, every to be parent, that we have so much more to give to the next generation, and let's not hold back, right? And most importantly, let's make sure we're living our truth. Let's make sure that we're continuing to improve ourselves and we're adding value in every space that we find ourselves, because there's no better way to impact them than by who we are and what we do and how we live. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. That is it, everybody. We have come to the end of this special live webinar. As I said, it was a combined masterclass and book launch talking about Dr. Lily's recent, newly released, fresh, very, very fresh. You guys are some of the first people to hear about it, and of course to see it. So please get on Amazon and order the book, and trust me, you will definitely enjoy it. You can look on your screen. That is the cover of the book that you will see. Hire your kids, save taxes, and build a legacy for your people. And trust me, it will bless you so much as you begin to do that. Tomorrow same time, we gather here for day 2 of this series to get deeper into a lot more. So please get it as a gift for a loved one, a friend, a church sister, a church brother, Or a family guy, you say, you run a business, you have kids, you are not on the life. Let me give you a gift. All right.
Yes.
And get that for somebody. And that may be one of the best things you can get for that particular person. Thank you all
Yes.
again. God bless you all, and see you same time tomorrow
Tomorrow.
as we gather here again. All right, people. Cheers.